the use of a perpetuity, it really is to it's to provide a consistent income stream. And if you think about somebody that hits retirement and a company has promised to pay them a certain amount every year, um, that the company could go and buy a perpetuity. Um, of course, at some point the person dies and they don't have to pay them anymore. But that's kind of an example. And if a company wants to be really safe with that obligation, they could value that obligation as a perpetuity, and then sell it off when the person passes away.
Okay.
That's kind of a stretch. So
Yeah.
of an
That will be the
explanation.
example on the like, the who is going to get like the benefit from the perpetuity. But like what
Yeah.
institution or like organization, like a bank or from an insurance company or like a usually who issued like
Insurance,
perpetuity.
you know what? Insurance companies and my uh, I I had some relatives that lived off of a perpetuity that their kids have now, that they actually split three ways separate when they died. But that's what they were. That's actually how they had just structured everything. It's actually the uncle I talked about in the bond when he was grumpy about the bonds that I've talked about a bit. He had taken his military retirement and put it into a perpetuity, and because that was enough money for them to live off of, and now that perpetuity is split three ways among his children.
Okay. Okay.
I had forgotten
Gotcha.
about that. But yeah, I know one of them almost completely lives off of that. She lives very cheaply, but she actually lives off of it. Um, Adrian, you got a question? I think I beat up on the perpetuity stuff enough.
Yeah. Homework. Can I share my
Uh-huh.
screen?
Yeah, which see, I worked on the homework on my flight out here. So uh,
All right. Can you share the screen?
yeah.
So it's about question five. We briefly touched on class. I asked you about the ROI, but that's okay. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to ask now on the graph, right? Try to make sense of it. The plot that you're seeing over here, the blue corresponds to the 3% YTM for
Mm-hmm.
the 5 year, 15, and 25, respectively. And the conclusion of the observation that I saw is for that discount bond, right? Because we have to sell it. The YTM was lower than the coupon. The
Mm-hmm.
price of the bond increases as a function of time,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
opposite the opposite is true for the premium, which is the 9% YTM. As you can see, that's the orangey
Mm-hmm.
plot, right? That trend line decreases, and I want to understand why. Try to make sense why that's the case,
Why the price is cheaper as you go out in time.
or higher if you're looking at the 3% YTM.
Okay. Let me. So, no, I'm not sharing yet. Uh-oh.
Let me give you the feedback then.
Uh, oh no, that's I should be able to grab it. I'm just trying to set up a. Yeah, da, da, da. Okay, so let's say, and I'm going to use an annual coupon. I'm going to use an annual coupon for this just to keep it simple. I think the question's an annual too, if I remember. So if we've got a let's see, market rate, and make it 7%. Coupon. You want a discount or a premium bond first?
Right, discount
Discount bond. Okay.
6%.
Okay, then the annual coupon here is going to be. You said 6. Okay. Let's call it a 20. Let's. Well, let me start with 5 years. Excuse me. Start with 5 years, and then we got the future value, which is 1,000. So this is the bond price. 5 years. Annual coupon to 60, and we got a future value of 1,000. So 959. So if we buy this bond, and I know the math doesn't, we talked about the math not adding up, but just conceptually, if we buy this bond, we get $60 payments every year, and then we get that $1,000 at the end of the year. Well, if the market rate is 7%, or I'm sorry, 6%, which is the same as the coupon, the bond price, that's 1,000. Let's say if you're getting 6%, if I give you $1,000 and you give me $60 a year for the next 10 years and then give me my $1,000 back, that's a 6% return. So the price doesn't change over time. But if the yield to maturity is implied to be a higher number based on the bond price, well, we get, of the 7% return, we get 6% of the return from coupons, and we get that last 1% of the return from the bond price change. And what I mean by that is, as time goes by, we have 5 years now. Watch the the bond price as I get closer to, as we move forward. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I get 2. If I put 0 in there, it craps out. But 1, very close to 1,000. But so as time goes by, the bond price works its way toward the face value, and together that gives us the 7% return. So Russell, if I go,
sorry to interrupt, but isn't it similar to an amortization table?
Isn't what?
Isn't it similar to an amortization table? Or can we maybe describe it with a table, perhaps?
Because... Oh, well, yeah, I was just thinking about that, actually. Do you mean like a table of the bonds next to each other? Because what I was going to do, I'll show you what I was going to do, and this will only take me a second. Of course, I'm gonna present value B2. Oh, this one. Payment is B3, and then the future value is B5. So this is the bond price over time. And I'm gonna do something cool. You just gave me a brainstorm. I'm gonna be so much better at teaching this stuff after you guys. 3, 2, 1. And I put 0. It's gonna, I think it gives us an error. No, it doesn't. Cool. Okay. So this is this bond. You can see that, 5 years out, I've got that $9.59 price, and I'm going to try to get as much of this on the screen as possible. So watch this. If I do this, if I say 60 plus, how can I get that? I want to make these bond prices positive. It's going to make my life a little bit easier when I try to show something. So let me make these bond prices. This is just, you'll see why I'm doing this. And I know I sound like I'm all over the place, but trust me, there's a reason behind this. So if I do 60 plus this price minus this price each year, divided by the price that I would have paid the year before, I get 7%. And if the yield to maturity, the market rate, if it doesn't change, if all that happens is time passes, every year I make 7%. And again, 6% is from coupon, 1% from price change. Now, if I do this, let's see how this works. Let's say so this is a discount bond because the price is lower than the face value. If I do I'm just going to change it to 4%. Now, 6% from the coupon and minus 2% from the price change, for lack of a better way to put it. But that's how they, and you can see that every year I have a 4% return. I lose some on the bond principal, which is going to work its way down to zero. So does that?
I think it does help. Let me ask you something else. The annualized, then, if we keep the 4%, you can say that the annualized rate is 4%, right? Because you're getting 4% each year.
Yeah, and the rate is, but that's your annualized yield to maturity from buying this bond would be 4%, and that's the market rate as well.
So does that translate to every year you get 4%, right?
Well, and not all of it is. Keep in mind that we're not selling the bond each year, but we're, our it's kind of like the gain and loss on a stock that we haven't sold yet. We lost 2% on the price of the bond on a year-over-year basis, but we got 6% from the coupon. So over time, again, your return has got your annualized return if you hold this thing, and your actual return is actually, it's 4% a year. Or let's do something fun. Inflation is out of control. Powell sucks. Yeah. This is 6% from the coupon and 14% from the bond price change. Never shown it like this before. You guys are really, I got to make sure I share this spreadsheet.
Yeah, I was going to ask you for the sheet, but if you're not going to share it, can you at least put the formula for the 20% that you have in column F?
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. So
I'm going to take the formula. I'm going to take a screenshot if you allow me to.
Yeah, go ahead. So, and I'm actually recording this.
I think you stopped.
No, I started it back up. I stopped and then I started. Right. When you asked this and you had me doing the table, I'm like, it's interesting enough to start back up.
Okay.
Trying to go back and forth.
I think this makes sense. I had another question on the homework, but I'm not sure if I want to let somebody else go.
Okay, cool.
And I'll put myself on cue.
Okay. What's up, Teresa?
Hi, could you go over a lump sum future value example?
A what? A lump sum future value?
Some future value example.
Okay. All right. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go through this. Well, I like that I'm recording. Some future. So this would be like, you guys see my screen, right? I'm only working with one screen today, so I'm a little off. It's either a headset or a screen, and I guess I'm going to go with headset because I don't want to wake up everybody in the house. Give me an example. You can you get to play Stump the Professor. What's future value are we shooting for?
Can I just share I have an example here on my screen. Can I share it?
Yeah, hold on. Okay.
It's one that you did in your videos.
Go ahead.
All right.
On the to-do list, send Jana an email. Okay.
Can you see that?
I can't.
Okay. Hold on.
Oh, there we go. Lump sum future value. So if you have to pay $3,000 for your, well, I'm sorry.
That's actually my question. Like, say on the quiz, will you have something like this where you, like, if you have to pay $3?
Sorry, you broke in and out on me. Whoop, we lost her. Okay. When she comes back, we'll bump her up. Shahida.
Morning, Professor Russell.
Hey, you're gonna have to speak up loud. I can barely hear you. I heard it sounded like you were whispering at me.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you better now. Yeah.
Sorry.
Teresa, I'll come right back to you. You dropped off, but you're first in line after Shahida. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead, Shahida.
It's okay if you want to carry on with Teresa. I'm happy to wait,
No,
Professor.
I just go ahead. We're gonna keep. I want to keep my. I'm at my in-laws' house in Arizona, and they're going to be getting up soon, and they're going to want me to do stuff. So I want to cover as much as I possibly can as quickly as possible. So go ahead. You go.
Okay. Professor Russell, the question that I have is it's also linked to the homework assignment, but I think it's also a general question. When it comes to shares, sometimes those questions get a bit confusing, and I think I have sent you an email with regard to this. Is when do you calculate the so-called fair value that you discussed in class, and then you discuss the share price? Because it gets a bit confusing sometimes.
I know. And so whenever we are, and this is one of those things where the terminology jumps back and forth, but whenever we're doing, like I give you a dividend and I say, at this discount rate and this growth, if I say here's the share price, what I should be saying is this is where we think the share price should be. Whenever we're doing any of the solutions using numbers to come up with a share price, it really is an estimated share price. And it's and is what we consider the fair value that we would be willing to pay for the stock. So anything that we do, the fair value for a stock, and if I say share price when we're solving something, they mean the same thing. I should be clearer on that, but they mean the same thing. So in class, now in reality, you do all the math. You know what a dividend is, and you have an idea of what you think the discount rate and the growth rate could be, and then you calculate a fair value for the stock, and then you go and you pull up a quote and see what the actual share price is. And if I'm ever talking about, and there are instances where we use the actual share price to back into like dividend yield, that's an actual share price. But when we're solving using other numbers, that is a fair value. That's the fair value of what we think the stock's worth or our estimated share price. And I'll try to be more clear about that as I go along.
Okay, so when we do those calculations, that first column where we're actually calculating the interest that we've earned on a particular share price, that would be the actual share price. So
no, the actual share price is only when we pull up a quote machine and get the price.
Okay, so what is it that we calculate? Because it sounds like, well, we're using the perpetuity formula because we're using the dividend divided by R minus G.
If you take the dividend and you divide it by some estimated rate or the rate of return that you want to receive, that is an estimated share price.
That's an estimated share.
Exactly. Right. If I use a dividend discount model or any of those models to come up with a value for a stock, that's us doing analysis like a stock analyst, and we see a stock that's worth $10 and we think we would be willing to pay $10 for it, and then you should go to the quote machine and see how much it actually costs. Okay, and so if we think it's worth $10, I would pay $10 for the stock, and we pull up a quote machine and it's trading for $7, the first thing we do is check our math. And then if our math's right, we're like, okay, we think this is worth 10 and I can buy it for 7, and then you go buy it. So
okay, and then
that's the actual process.
When we do the other calculation where we're using the discount rate, that's the fair value.
Exactly. The fair value, and I'll try to keep saying estimated share price, just to keep that clear, because there are a couple of instances where we know the stock price, and that is if we're figuring out the dividend yield, or we're trying to figure out what the market's discount rate is for the stock, if we have the stock price and a few other numbers. But whenever we solve for a share price, we're solving for an estimated share price.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, Teresa, we're gonna bring you back to the front because
I think my Wi-Fi cut out.
All right, yeah, you're reclaiming your time, as they say when they're grilling people in Congress.
Okay. I just wanted more understanding on the lump sum future value. So I think this probably should be 3,000 at year 3, because they say if you decide to pay 3,000 for year 3, then adjust. Oh my goodness, am I still on Zoom?
Which Yeah, no, I can see you. I'm looking
Okay.
at your number. I'm
So
I'm
my
looking at your
Zoom
numbers.
whenever Zoom keeps saying Zoom quit unexpectedly. So I don't know why it's doing that. So if I like, you know,
you just clicked in. I'm sorry, Teresa, you just went in and out. Va, you're up. Poor Teresa, calling in from the middle of nowhere.
I think every time I share my screen, I think I get disconnected.
Okay.
So
Can you
I'll have to go back in the queue and I'll ask without sharing my screen, maybe.
I was going to say, why don't you send me that spreadsheet and send me an email, and I promise I'll respond to it immediately when we're done with office hours.
Okay, thank you.
That might be the most efficient thing to do.
Okay, thank you.
You betcha. Sorry about that. Va, what's up?
Yeah, so I actually have a question about the delayed two-step. So
Sure.
if we can work on,
you want me to bring that back up?
Yeah, that'd be
Okay,
great.
cool. I can do that. There's everybody. Okay, right here. Yeah, this delayed perpetuity that I'm very proud of and I'm gonna save.
So this is also
I might actually turn this into a video by itself.
for your. So I was talking, I was hoping you can go over the one that we went over on the class on Tuesday.
Oh,
I showed
sure.
delayed two steps, having the present value of 4 years annuity for $100 per year.
Yeah. Let me I'm trying to find where that it was in the review, right?
Yeah, it was in the review.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find my All right, now I'm having a problem. Why isn't it just like from earlier this week? Earnings graphics. Well, heck, bear with me a second.
That's the question. I was hoping you can go work on Excel. You can do on Excel. So I'll just.
Yeah, no, I'll do it on Excel. I just wanted to pull up the. So this one was a delayed annuity. So, but the concept's exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so let me. I might ask you to help me a little bit with this. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one was delayed and we got our first payment in year 2, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And it's $100 a time. Boom, boom. Okay. And what was the rate? Was it 9%?
It was 9%, yes.
Okay. Percent. All right. So the first step would be the annuity. And when I do annuities, I will do this. I just use the present value formula. It's a rate. We have 4 payments. They're $100 each. I'll link to that. And the future value is 0 because we get 100, 100, 100. We're done. I think I fourth hundred there, and we're done. So the present value of that step 1 is, is that 323.97. And so that's step 1. Are you good on that one?
Yeah, I'm good on that one.
Where you're annuity. Okay, thanks for typing it in there. And so that's step 1. And then step 2 is the final answer, which is the present value today. It's this, and I can discount this back 1 plus the 9%. And for clarity's sake, I'm going to say raised to 1, even though it doesn't make a difference. But if it were, if it were delayed, if the annuity value, that first step, if it were farther out than 1 year, we would want to make sure that we discount it back by more than 1 year.
Okay.
And that's 297.22.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Okay, is that,
Yeah,
I feel like I went too quickly, and didn't include as much as I possibly could have. Yeah. Like maybe I need to link to that too. So that was a delayed annuity. Cool. Does that get you, you know, these are our payments. I used to teach a class at Loyola to non-business majors, and I would color code stuff sometimes. So here, the purple is the number we're going to receive, and the green, these are the ones that we're solving for.
Okay.
So we know where all those numbers come from, because putting that in a timeline doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it does for trying to demonstrate the numbers.
Thank you. Got it.
Did that get you there?
Yep.
Cool.
Can you do the formula text for that year 0?
Yeah, I can.
Thank you.
I didn't want to do that. Darn it. I didn't want the purple and green moving over. Give it some space here. I'm going to do it for both of them. That there. See if that's a little bit more clarity.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. All right, Mandeep, what's going on?
Hey, Prof. Did you say you're in Zona?
I am in Arizona.
Oh, cool. What part?
We're north of Phoenix. The name of the place is Terra Vita.
Oh, okay.
It's just straight up Scottsdale Road, right before you get to the boulders and all of that.
Oh, okay, cool. I love that. I love Phoenix. It's son went there for a hockey tournament,
nice.
And we climbed some mountains, which is awesome, like Piestewa and Camelback. Really nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yep. No, that's one of the things that my wife and I have done that before. I think she's trying to get out of it, and she didn't bring the right clothes for it.
We didn't bring anything right. We didn't bring flashlights, nothing. We were like lost in the dark with our cell phone lights. That was about it.
Cool. But I bet that's cool. I bet that's cool at night though.
Definitely an adventure. So, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Just give me a second.
Sure.
And I'll go and kind of have a few questions as well, but I'll also keep it moving and make sure I can cycle back around and get others involved. Sorry. Let me know when you can see my screen. So this is the Monday night class 596.
The souffle maker. Oh, you're going to be so.
No, I don't. The first question I have is around question 3. Like I said, this is a short one. It's just understanding the whole IRR versus the discount rate. So I got an IRR on this project of the incremental IRR of 17.59, and the discount rate is 17. And it asks you, okay, well, which project should you choose? And I'm kind of going back to some of the rules that you mentioned in class about if the discount rate is less than the incremental IRR, then you choose project B. But I was kind of a little bit confused. So I mean, I did it. That's what based on the rule. And then I think the next question kind of makes you prove it to yourself, right? With the NPV.
That's exactly what you're kind of having to do there. I'm trying to find, it looks right to me. I'm just trying to find my, I worked all these on the plane and now I cannot find the answer spreadsheet. I can't find the answer PowerPoint.
And while you look that up, just want to confirm again, I think the numbers show it doesn't matter how you do the incremental, A minus B or B minus A, you get the same incremental, correct?
Correct. It doesn't really matter. And when you're trying to make the final decision there, what you really need to do is you need to run the numbers against come on, man. Shoot. Yeah, you just need to run the numbers or see which one has the better net present value at that time. You can, I should do it this way. You can get a fairly decent idea based on which one has the higher IRR already, but you really want to confirm it by figuring out the net present value with the discount rate that we're saying that we're looking for.
Okay.
I think if that's the part of the question you were asking about.
Yeah, I was just trying
I'm gonna be really upset if I lost my homework. There it is. Okay, sorry. All right, because I wanted to compare your numbers to.
So it's three C and D.
So And also, let me look at your screen real quick. That 17%, yeah, 17.59 is the difference. You have all the right numbers. Let me look at E. Yeah, you're looking good there.
Okay.
Hold on. I don't want to say you're looking good. I don't want to. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
and G is basically almost like an old proof.
Yeah, they both convert.
Why does it do that? Well, because that's the way it's supposed to work, and now we've proved it mathematically.
Yeah. Okay, and then just one quick thing, and I'll hop back around after this one quick question is on question 5. The Honeywell Petroleum question 5 homework. I just wanted to confirm one thing, and that is when they talk about needs to add working capital, right? So in year 0, you're adding $180,000, I think it is, of immediate net working capital. It doesn't say it explicitly, but I assume that net working capital stays at that level until the final year when you zero it out, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, yeah, you add it back to the operating cash flow in year 4. Is the last year is year 4, right?
Yeah, exactly. So my total cash flow for the project in year 4 is you add that 0.18 back, correct?
Yeah, you get like 1.7 million plus.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And then just the NPV on this project, I got 810,000.
Oh, let me look at that. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, it's a little more than that, but that's pretty close.
Okay, no, I probably need to just go out with my
yeah,
here.
Yeah,
because I kept it in the I truncated by 1,000. But okay, the concept is if you're told that you have net working capital, it stays unless, like in the bowling ball example, I think like it changed every year based on the sales. But if you're not told anything, right, like the net working capital stays at, you assume flat net working capital until final year where you zero it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just because you guys bothered to show up on Saturday, sometimes there's ulterior motives to the way that questions are done, and because I've seen people miss adding the net working capital back at the end of a project so much, I want you to try and remember that on your own. That's why the question is the way it is. So that you guys question it and you think about it like you are doing right now.
Okay. I'll hop off and jump back on for some other questions, but thank you.
Oh, no problem. Adrian.
All right, so I got another question on question 10.
Okay.
Let me share it. 1 second. All right, is it up?
Yeah. Which question was this one?
Number 10.
Okay. Annual face. And which part are you?
I have questions on. Sure. So first part asks you for the present value of the bond. Straightforward, I hope. And then part B, it says, okay, if you believe in 3 years from now the return is still going to be 10%, what's going to be the pricing 3 years from now? And the key sentence that I want to highlight because it's related to the question is what the price should be 3 years from now. And that's what I ended up getting, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the answer because it matches the answer that I got for part B, which changes a little bit of the YTM and the year itself. But the question that I had is, if the question asks the present value of the bond price 3 years from now, we would need to take this 923.94 and consider the 3-year time and the required rate of return, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm trying to find. There it is. Okay, I'm trying to find my. Yeah, I hate having to flip back and forth the screens, but. $17.56. Yeah, you're in good shape there. And we talk, and you have your little question there on the bond increases as we reduce maturity. That's the whole gravitating toward, 1,000 that we talked about a little bit earlier.
Right.
And there, I was looking for your 18% answer down there at the bottom when I was going through all of them. And that price came down. Yeah.
And okay, so can you then, whenever you have time, of course, can you share with us that Excel? It's going to be really beneficial.
Sure. You've got that question under there where it says if the question asks for the present value of the bond price 12 years from now, you would never ask it like that, but that's not something that you'd really want to solve, because you're not taking into account the potential, the cash flows that you're getting. That's
okay.
all.
Yeah. Okay.
If
it's related to the same question that I asked earlier, like just a few seconds ago, right? But extrapolated to the different parts of the question. But sure. Okay. I think that's all I got then.
Okay, cool. What's up, Mason?
Hey, I have a question on the homework. Let me pull it back up. On 2D, it mentions using the finite horizon valuation, and I couldn't find what that is in the book or in your PowerPoints.
Which class are you in?
Wednesday.
Okay. Okay. Bear with me. I gotta find that homework. I had the other homework. I had something else up for the moment. In question 2, I'm asking for
2D. It says using the finite horizon valuation.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't have that. I can't find that freaking assignment. Sorry.
I'm trying to find where screen share is.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Are you seeing it?
Oh, I see. Okay. Finite valuation. What the finite valuation means is when you, and I apologize. What we mean by the finite horizon valuation, that's the price that you're getting in year 3 and the price that you're getting in year 7. And what you can do is you can, what we're doing is we're coming up with the where you have 6154 both of those times. That just means that both of these people, one that wants to sell in 3 years and one that wants to sell in 7 years, or is looking at a valuation at 3 or 7 years out, because they're using the same assumptions, the price of the stock today is the same.
Right. Okay. So,
and so like the finite valuation is that is the valuation for part A I'm sorry, not part A, but for in C, where you've got the cash flows and then you've got that final price, 67.80 and 73.39. When they both have different terminal valuations, and that's what the finite horizon valuation is. That term means, I've said sometimes in class, I'll say that when we use the dividend discount model to figure out the value of a stock, there's this assumption that those cash flows are going to continue forever. So the finite horizon is the end of our investment horizon. So for investor A, they intend on selling in 3 years, and investor B intends on selling in 7 years, and that's the only difference between the two. Otherwise, they have the same discount rate, and they have the same assumptions around the dividend growth as well. They've just got a couple of different time frames going there, but even though they have different time frames, because they're using the same assumptions as far as dividends and discount rates and growth rates, the The present value is the same for both of them.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. So yeah, that finite horizon valuation, it's just the, and we'll get into this in another chapter, where we take a look at estimating the near-term dividends or cash flow, which might not be a consistent growth, and then we come up with a value for the stock 5 years down the road. That's the finite valuation.
Okay.
Just a different term for it. So I think I've beaten that to death at this point, haven't I? There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, Jason, what's up?
So I have two questions. They are related. The first one, do you mind like you share your screen on the delayed kind of annuity like that one?
Absolutely. Okay.
Well, on this slide, like let's say like the inflation rate is like yeah.
But you said slide and I pulled up the spreadsheet. Did you want me to switch?
Yeah. This one will be fine. This one will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we are going to work on this one. So let's assume like the inflation rate is like 3%. Okay. And we want to like know like how much exactly we have the return. Are we going to come back to present value, or like see like just how much kind of dollars we got? So
for the annuity, we're really just doing the absolute dollars. If we want to try to figure out a real return, and you want to figure out the real return based using a bunch of assumptions, you're going to use an average assumption for inflation, and you're going to use the Fisher effect to come up with that formula that I talk about in concept, but don't really do much mathematically wise. But you're going to use that to figure out how much you expect your wealth in real purchasing terms to increase over basically over your investment life, since it's a perpetuity. But that would and you can do that, but in reality what you want to do is because especially as individual investors, you just want to make sure that this number right here at 9%, that it's greater than what your inflation outlook is.
Okay. So then like basically the net present value like is kind of positive. So that's like a deal, like we make profit, right?
Yeah, okay. You could just, you can alter the numbers in there to figure out if you really want to get an idea as to how much your purchasing power is increasing over time, and incorporate the inflation into your interest rate outlook. Just to get an idea of this $100, that's great and all, but in current purchasing terms, it's really only 95 because of inflation.
So if you do an example like here, like if the part, like let's say like the purchasing like a power, like what's the like the increase for this one? Let's say if like the inflation rate is 3%.
Oh goodness gracious. Well, if it were 3% and this is over 2 years, then that $100 would be worth that. So it'd be worth $94 in purchasing power today. And then you can, and this is way beyond anything we're doing in class, so people don't get anybody that's like, oh my God, I have no clue what he's talking about. Don't panic. This is just kind of a conceptual thing that Jason's asking. So, and the thing is, as we go through time, the purchasing power of that $100 just, goes down. So, but that's how you could, that's one way you could go about incorporating inflation into, am I buying an investment product that is in reality not going to allow me to buy as much stuff as I can today because inflation's going to crush it.
Okay. So like those are two kind of parameters. One like I sum up like still we count like everything back to the present value and we sum them up, compare with like the purchasing power nowadays, like see which one make more sense. But the other like dimension is like we can just use that kind of rate. As far as that rate is higher than the inflation rate, that's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it.
Yeah, and the other one, let me share my screen. I think it's kind of related. Screen. So for like a question like a 10, let me kind of move this kind of. So like when I say this one, like I got the number kind of right.
Oh yeah.
Here,
and
when
this is a good way to check this too.
But like here, the bond present value, like I think probably I did something wrong. See, like it kind of keep kind of decrease.
No, those are the same, right? Which one is off?
I think like this number, like I think like it's supposed to always kind of worth like $1,000, right? But like see, like when I did those kind of things, I sum up like this one and that one, like the bond kind of present value keep kind of decreasing.
Yeah, as you go farther out in time, it is.
Oh, actually, it keeps kind of decreasing. Like I'm on the right track, right?
Yeah, you're on the right track. I think you're just looking at that. Look at the numbers a little bit differently, but yeah, for the bonds, the bond price for that one, bond price is going to keep going up until it reaches 1,000 at maturity.
Okay, and like the other kind of value, like is kind of be allocated to the coupon, because like I keep kind of receiving the coupon. So basically, this kind of part is going to offset like that $1,000, right? So
exactly. That's what I was showing in that that spreadsheet really early on about how that Adrian asked the question about where the price of the bond, where I just showed how we got the return, but also how the price of the bond changes, all else being the same based on the passage of time.
Okay, and the only thing constantly not changing actually is that rate. If I use that one kind of this give me 1 second. So this one minus that one, or like this one minus that one divided. So the rate actually is the same. Like it's always
exactly.
Okay.
The rate ends up being the same as your yield to maturity, or rate, which we put into that Excel function, or discount rate. Every once in a while I use all the phrases together to make sure everybody knows that they all mean the same thing, at least when we're talking about bonds.
All right, thank you.
Okay, you betcha. Trevor is like the most patient person in the world. You've been in line for a while, that's all.
Yeah. I'm here just to check on assignment 2. Let me share my screen. I'm in Wednesday's class.
Thanks.
Let me share.
And for only a few people here is he's doing that. The people that are having a quiz this weekend, the average score right now is an 86. So I just keep trying to tell you guys things to make you feel better about taking quizzes. So
awesome. This is Mason. This is what I did, just for the sake of if the screen's being recorded. This is what I did for number 2 for part D, just so it's on the screen. I don't know if it's right or not. That's what I did.
You have the correct. I think you have that correct. Let me check. I look at so many numbers, and what question number is that? I have like 5 documents.
2D.
Ooh, get rid of that. Don't want that. Room. So yeah, 6154 is the right answer. And it's funny, you're doing it almost exactly the way that I have it in the answer sheet. I want to look at one number. That year 7, that's 73. That's you've added the dividend and the stock price together, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's cool. That's the number that was causing me a little. Okay, yeah, and same thing there. And again, the idea behind this question is to show you guys that if both investors, even though one's thinking 3 years and one's thinking 7 years, if everything else, if all their other outlooks are the same, which is the dividend estimates and the discount rate, they're going to come up with the same stock price, even though they're looking at 2 different time frames.
Awesome.
And your explanation is pretty good as well. But it really, the big point there is If you have one investor that's thinking 5 years and another that's thinking 10 years, and they think that the growth rate's going to be the same and they're using the same discount rate, they're going to come up with about the same value, or the same, I shouldn't even say about, the same valuation for the stock. And that's what you've done. So you're good.
So for number 4 is what I had a question on, was just to check. I don't know if we covered that yet. That's why I came in pretty late. So
no, we have not. Nobody's asked me about the Hoosier Inc. yet.
Okay, so on Hoosier Inc., this is what I got.
Let's see. Bless somebody. Bear with me here. You're off.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's a positive answer.
So A and B are offered, but just B.
A is 2704 and B is 4111. So let me look at your cash flow. Your cash flow. If anybody else catches it, let me know. You're more than welcome to. What's your your year 6? You know what? Your year 6 stock price should be third, or yeah.
I think that is where I got confused as well. Was the change after 5 years? Dividends projected to increase by 10% a year. So after 5 years, so yeah, I should the year 7.
You should use you should use your year 7 dividend, which is that 402. I really hate working on one screen. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, the dividend growth is. Can you show me how you're doing the dividend growth?
So for the dividend growth,
just click on one of them so I can see. Yeah. So the 264 is correct, but then the next one is.
I've got it right. Would it help if I shared my screen and showed what I did?
Yeah. Hit escape real quick, Trevor, and I want to see what number did you have for that second dividend that you were showing me the formula for, Trevor?
The formula that I was using.
No, I just want to know the number. What was the number that you had there?
Which year?
For your year 3 dividend, you have 240, 260,
290.
Okay, that's not where it was. All right, somebody said they were going to share their screen and show us how to do it, which I'm cool. Which I'm totally cool with. I would rather you guys. Yeah, this is exactly what I got. Your dividends appeared to be growing too quickly, Trevor, at some point, and that's where I was trying to figure that one out. But this is for anybody that's asking about question 4. There's your question 4 answers.
387. Yeah.
Can
okay,
Mason, can you make this a little bit bigger? You guys don't want to see up my nose or anything like that. Thank you. Thanks.
Yep.
So
351.
Yeah, what did you just increase by 10% over and over again, like at 264? That's what just by yeah.
And then 7, it looks like it goes to 4.
Yeah, and then
this uses 7 to get to that price.
In that 402 dividend, what's our secondary growth rate in this question?
4%.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the increase of 387 by 4% to get the dividend to come up with that year 6 stock price.
Can you show your formula text?
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I increased the 6 year by Yeah.
Thank
you. Okay. That makes sense.
Oh.
You misspelled something in there.
No, I just clicked the wrong thing.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay.
That's why. Oh, okay. I know where I went wrong.
Yeah, it
In
was.
my
I know.
formula, I messed up. Every other part, it was. I had it so that it was just like you did in one of your formulas. It was subtracting one, like when I was taking it to the exponent, I didn't, for the 6th year, I messed up the formula and didn't subtract one. So like it was taking the exponent of the year minus one. And for the 6th year, for some reason, it just took to the 6th power rather than the 5th power.
I gotcha.
That's where it messed up.
Yeah, I knew. I knew it was somewhere in there. That's why I was asking you to show formulas, but this is probably a better way to find it out. And this looks very similar to my answer slide that I was looking at.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. That's why we get up early on Saturdays. Mandeep, you're on the clock.
Okay, give me a second to share my screen. Share screen. Can you all see it? Or yeah. With this again in the Monday night class 596, homework assignment number 2, question number 7. Looking at the projects, there's this concept of best case, worst case, plus or minus 10%. I'm just gonna assume that when you say best case, it means that the units and the sale price drop by 10% and the costs go up by 10%.
Yep, exactly.
So my frame of reference changes a little bit, right? And then the worst case is the exact opposite. Worst case is that my maybe I said it the opposite way first, but you know what I mean.
No, I think I think you said it right.
Oh, okay.
But
so my best case is that my units and my sale price goes up by 10%. And then I just and then opposite for worst case, and you're basically looking at 2 scenarios: best case scenario cash flow and worst case scenario cash flow, right?
Yeah, let me see where you had all those together, because I just found where I have it. And don't move anything for a sec, and I'll just so worst case scenario is on your right.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. And you do include make sure depreciation doesn't change and tax rate doesn't change. And then your best case is better sales, and sale
higher
price 20, yeah, and then your variable cost is lower. Yeah. So just when you're doing best case, worst case, just think about what hurts and what helps my bottom line.
Yeah. So. And then basically I run through the cash flow and calculate NPV based on first the best case and then the second the worst case.
And those numbers are correct.
The NPVs?
The 540 and 660. Sorry. Let me look down a little bit.
So in one I got a positive NPV, and then the other one, the worst case, I got a negative NPV.
And you got correct answers.
Okay.
That's a bear of a question, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I was gonna say, if you guys make me mad, I'm gonna put it on the final.
Oh geez.
I'm kidding.
I know I emailed you this one before, like
yeah, you did good on this one.
I did, but I honestly used the template that I saw for this type of question in other sections, like
well, you're using the tax something. I've forgotten the phrase for it, but it's the
estimated EAC.
Oh, is this the EAC question?
This is the Peyton Manning manufacturing EAC question. And I'm just wondering, like, I don't know if you're recording right now, but I would love to see, I just plugged and chugged into the calculator, honestly, like complete brain dead, not really understanding how to actually solve this problem. I'll be completely honest. Got the answer, obviously, but I'd love to, like, if you can record it and then I'd love to see how you actually solve this problem.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to find where I did it. what's the name of this company?
Peyton.
I tried to look up EAC to get to the slide real quickly, and it keeps going to each and earnings. So, which question number is this?
6.
6.
The Peyton Manufacturing.
Peyton. I know everybody loves Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. I'll just keep my mouth shut. So here we go. I'm going to show you guys the final answer, which will answer his question without giving the whole thing away.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. So this is the calculating the EAC. We got a present value for each cash flow for each cash flow, and we have the number of periods for each of them. It's 4 for one and 6 for the other. I did this where I made the EAC a positive number so you could see which one was cheaper. I get a little crazy when we use the negative numbers and you want the one that's less negative, especially when you're spending money. So, do what?
You just did this as
well, that's the I mean, this is I did. There are multiple steps before you see this.
Oh, okay.
there are 2 more slides before this where you come to, and I want everybody to try to get themselves to this point without me giving all of that away.
Okay.
But what I did do was I came up with the present value for each project using those cash flows and discounting them back. And before that, I came up with the System A and System B operating cash flows. And the operating cash flows, like I'll show this part. I'm just in a nice mood. So the net to get the this is the operating cash flow per year for each project. We had 79,000 and 73,000 in operating costs. This is the tax shield approach to figuring out operating cash flow, I believe.
Yeah.
And so we can figure out the annual OCF for each of them, but the annual OCF and then is not useful because one's 4 years and one's 6 years.
Right.
So then we get the get the net present value for each project, which is this number up front, this number up front, and just use the NPV formula, and then use those.
So that's what went into your net present value, the 538 and the 397.
Yep. Which again doesn't tell you anything because it's 4 years versus 6 years, and so we can then we can just figure out the payment function, which is the annual payment for each of those over those time frames. So, and your sheet does that.
Yeah, no, this explains it a lot. Like I said, I just plugged and chugged into a calculator. Didn't really understand what exactly I was doing.
I understand, and that's why, and honestly, that's why sometimes you guys will say, "Can you share all the spreadsheets you did in class?" And I'm like, "No, you guys have to do that part."
Right.
Because I want you to understand what's going on behind it. So that's all.
So step 1 was you got the system OCFs, then you converted that into a
net present value for each of them.
Net present value for each of the projects, which are at different lengths of time, 4 years versus 6 years. Then you got the present value of that, and then from all of that, you got the payment, EAC.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 4-step approach.
Yeah. And we kind of did that. I mean, the problem with the problem with the example in the class is that one of them's 5 years and one of them's 10 years, and there's an explanation in there of using the figuring out the annual the equivalent annual cost or the annual payments that would match up to the cash flows. It gives us the same answer because the net present value we doubled that 5 year to 10 year. So I think that it would serve me well if I added an example that's like the question where they have separate time frames that are not easily divisible into each other.
Understood. Thank you for taking the time to walk us through that.
What's up, Hannah?
Hey, I wasn't here since the beginning, so apologies if somebody asked this already, but I had a question on the Monday night homework question 4.
Okay.
I can share my screen. I just don't feel confident that I solved this correctly.
Oh, that's okay. You don't have to if you don't want to, though.
No, it's okay. I can.
Okay. Is this Emmy's restaurant?
Yes. Here's the question.
That's my youngest daughter. Bear with me a second here.
Could you just make that a bigger, Hannah? So I'm trying to compare with mine. We're in the same class.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You still want it bigger?
No, that's good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got something different, Hannah, but I don't know. Like,
well, it's type in A11, Hannah. Type cash flow.
Okay.
And then in C11, go equals C10 plus C5. That's the number you should be using instead of net income to get the net present value. So I think if you highlight that across and you change what you're linking to that, that's going to give it to you.
Is that it?
Look at you.
Wow. Okay. So
and you know what? And I'm really glad you shared it because you had everything else perfect, but you were missing that one last little step there.
Okay. And what is that? You just have to add depreciation back in?
You add when you're doing when you're figuring out cash flow, if you have the net income and you have the depreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you add the depreciation to the net income, you get the cash flow. And when we're doing I forgot what the wording of the question, but yeah, when you're doing the net present value of a project, you want to use cash flows and not earnings.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And then it's correct to think that
that's correct.
You would accept this because it's greater than 0, right?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right. Not as bad as I thought. Okay. Thank you.
You betcha. So yeah, I see that. I like that. I like that you were like 95% of the way there. It was one little thing. Oh, Teresa, what's up?
Okay. So I sent you my question via email. But I have another question, and I found my way around this. Shida's going to share her screen.
Oh, you found it?
It's a question on the first homework. The bonus question, I was just wondering if you can remind me why you can't use the effect function to calculate the EAR.
Okay, bear with me a second. I want to find my answer slides from that one. I don't know if I have my answer slides from that. I know I made a video around it.
And Shida, if you just like move go over to the right, I have the.
Oh, you have it in here? Oh, I was digging around. So I'm sorry. Let me I gotta find my answer. I mentally am not around the come on, buddy. Hopefully this is it. Okay. Okay. This is the one that has a 6-month rate, correct?
Yes.
All right. So let me walk through that. I have the actual.
Because in the spreadsheet, I have the equation for EAR, the one plus rate. I was just wondering why you couldn't do, when you see down there compound monthly, why you couldn't do the effect function to calculate the EAR for that.
You could, and it's not a this is the bonus question where we're coming up with an effective 6-month rate, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you can use it. What you would want was if you know a total 6-month rate, which in this case I think is 0.65% times 6. If you wanted to use the effect function there, you could do effect, 0.6 using the 0.65%, multiply that by 6, which gives you, I think, 3.9. So you could use effect and then 3.9 and 6 periods. And that's going to give you an effective 6-month rate, because you have the full 6-month rate and you have the number of times you're going to compound in 6 months, and that'll give you that number.
Okay, can you just repeat that one more time?
Well, how about I switch and I do it on Excel?
Okay, that'd be great.
That might and walk through it. Okay. My pen died. 0.65, 6 months. So yeah, the 6-month rate on the on that bonus question. And again, don't pay any attention to all this. That has. All right, so we're trying to find the effective 6-month rate. The monthly rate was 0.65%, and we got that by 7.8% divided by 12.
Yes.
And so we have the annual percentage rate, which is where we just take the monthly rate and we multiply it by 12. Well, we could come up with, and this is not a real term, but the 6-month, come on, Russell, 6-month APR. And I'm going to put a little asterisk after APR because that's just not a good term, but that's the best thing I can come up with at the moment. So that's the 0.65% times 6, which gives us 3.9%.
Oh.
And if we wanted to use the effect function, we can do effect 3.9% compounded 6 times. And that gives us that 3.96%. On your quiz, you're not going to have to do you won't have to do a non-standard effective rate like that.
Okay.
That's why it was a bonus question.
Okay.
Is that what you were getting toward?
Yes.
You said, why can't you? And I'm saying, well, you can, but you just have to do it this way.
Okay. Could you just use the formula text for the 6-month APR asterisk, what you just did?
Yeah.
I can just take a snip of that.
No, not a problem at all.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Akash, you're up.
Thanks, Russell. So my question is on question 3. The end of year 2 is kind of throwing me off. So if I can share my screen.
Sure.
Can you see my screen? Okay. So you're saying end of year 2 is 2.26, right? So end of year 2 is as good as saying beginning of year 3. In that case, should I go 2 years back in time?
Well, the 202, you should just put a 0 there.
Oh.
They're not paying a dividend in year 1.
Okay.
So there you go. Yeah. First dividend's 226 2 years from now. And then it's going to be 313. You have 331 there.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then you got that one. Okay.
Okay. So
and then the 421, that's a 4%. Yeah, that's a 4% increase. Yeah. I think that's it.
So you find the stock price from the
you find the fair value of what we think the stock's worth.
Yes.
So I had a question earlier about that. That's the only reason I'm being a little silly about it. So
okay, and then so we don't really need to calculate the rate for the short-term rate, right? We don't need it.
No.
Okay.
So that 40 you had, you have 4006, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
Okay. Okay, that's all I want.
Cool. No problem at all. Kyle, what's up?
Hey, I think I'm reading too much into this, but figured I'd ask. For expected return, you take the sum product of the probability of occurrence against the rate of return.
Yes.
When you're given the expected return and the weight, would it be the same method?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And
so
I thought,
if you're 25% in one asset, 50% in another, and 25% in a third, you can multiply those numbers times your expected return for each of those. And then similarly, if you if you have a situation where you think there's a 10% chance we're going to have a recession, 75% chance everything's going to be normal, and 15% chance we're going to have a rapidly growing economy. If you have a good idea as to how the financial markets will react to those different states, you can come up with an estimated outlook.
right. And I've used the weighting principle so many times in the past. It's just, I read it and I thought, I'm overreading it, but I'm going to ask. So.
No, it's not, and that's not a problem at all. And that's really how, if you see Goldman Sachs's forecast for the stock market in 2024, a lot of it's going to be based on, it's actually the way and I know it sounds like I'm deviating, but I swear this relates to what you just asked. A lot of investment banks, the way all of their research and all their research recommendations are supposed to work is supposed to start with an outlook from their chief economist. So the chief economist will say, I think there's a 15% chance of a recession, et cetera, et cetera. And then then like all of the analysts covering all the different industries, their stock recommendations are supposed to match up with that. And a macro strategist, his estimated, end of year price target for the S&P 500 is going to be based on their economist's outlook. So they all sync up.
Yeah.
So that odds thing really is pretty much where a lot of the numbers that we see come from. What are the odds that we're going to be in some sort of a situation?
Thank you for putting those two on the homework.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Samantha, you're up. I should do a stopwatch sometime to see how long it takes me to get to some people, because the line gets really long and you were at the end of a long line. So go ahead.
Mine is hopefully pretty quick. Can you see this?
I can.
Okay, so the answer here says 81059.31.
Yeah.
Well, I got 32, so I'm like, oh my gosh, did I do it wrong?
No, that's rounding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only.
And you may have, at some point there. Who knows?
Okay.
So there.
That's pretty much just what I wanted to check on.
Okay. Yeah. Anything that close. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay.
Now, like 0.2 or 0.3 and some percent answers might make a difference, but that one, not a problem at all. What's up, Mason?
Yeah, on number 8, I can share my screen real quick. I had to use Solver, and I was just hoping you could go through how to do this without. So I know there's a way, I just can't think of it.
I'm trying to find it first. Place. First off, this is a really short question. If anybody's like, somebody used the phrase overthink earlier. And this is one I wouldn't overthink too much. Let me do it where I can look at things side by side, see where you're at. Sorry. Pulled up the other classes, question 8. So we're being given, are we given that final stock price?
Yes, we're given the $58.
Right, let's do it. So most recent dividend, right after dividend paid, stock was selling for $58 a share. If you expect dividend growth, overall rate of return. So for G, use the dividend growth rate. And then add that to the dividend yield. And the dividend yield is going to be the dividend 1 year out divided by the current stock price.
Okay.
Yeah. And what you did for Solver, that gets you there as well. But so yeah, but we're being given 5% for growth, and we're being given the stock price, and you make sure when you do the dividend yield and the growth rate for a company when you're looking at market numbers is the dividend yield plus whatever, if we're being given a dividend growth rate, that's what we're going to use for the G part of that calculation.
Okay.
And that gets you to that 9.54%.
Sorry, did you say 954?
9.45. I might have said it backwards.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
I'm actually kicking you out and doing this. Because you're really, I mean, you basically had every single piece of information there, but so this is, and that 9.45, that's the 258 divided by 53, and then we're adding the G. If you're being given a consistent dividend growth rate, you can make an assumption that the company is internally growing at that same number, and you don't have to make any adjustments for the retention ratio.
Okay.
Mandeep's back. What's up?
Hey, I'll go ahead and share my screen again.
Sure.
This is again Monday night class 596, and
do you know what Monday? You know what Monday night was for me growing up? It was the night we got to go professional wrestling.
Oh, was that WW?
It was I forgot. It was whatever it was in Memphis. Oh. It was much lower tier. Monday night. Let's say if you were going to fight somebody in high school,
I thought you were going to say
you'd say Monday night.
Yeah.
Monday
I don't know.
night,
There's so many different. There's like people on different classes.
Yeah.
Here. The is a little bit different, so
it's
hard to kind of keep track sometimes. So,
oh, I know.
This is the Ford and the S&P 500 question, number 12. And maybe this is like underthinking it. I don't know, but like what I did was calculate the beta based on the covariance and the variance. The covariance obviously of Ford and S&P, and then the variance of just the risk-free or whatever, or not risk-free, but the S&P.
The S&P, yeah.
Yeah, and they got a beta, and then you use a capital, what's it called? Capital asset.
The CAPM or this
pricing model. Because you're giving us a risk-free percentage and you're giving us the market premium rate. So I got an expected return of 854 just based on the beta. Here, it's just based on, the risk-free plus the beta times into the market risk premium.
Okay. I use the slope function and I'm not finding my answer. That's why I'm being goofy for the moment.
I didn't use any slope functions.
Well, come on. Give me assignment 2, please. You know what? That may show up. bear with me here.
Yeah, no worries.
Man, darn it. Oh, I see why. I don't have that's one of those spreadsheet questions, right? In the second part.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and I don't have mine. I can't find my spreadsheet. And the computer doesn't want to give it to me. Be my friend. That it? No, I can't find the freaking.
If you want to come back to it, that's fine too.
I should find. I don't know why I can't find this. I don't know what happened to the file. So. Yeah, you can do it. I mean, there's two ways to do it. I was just going to show the slope function, but yeah, I believe that's the right answer. And that's the way to go about getting it.
Okay. And you always want us to, in class, use the .p, right?
Yes, everybody use the .p, always, always, always. The book does it in two different ways in two different chapters, and one of them ain't right. So that's all I can say about that. That makes I get pretty fired. It's hard enough to learn some of this stuff and teach it if, when mistakes are being put in there. No, really, when there's mistakes in the book.
I see Trevor already, man, like nodding his head. He's like,
yeah, it's hard enough when there are mistakes and oh well, we'll leave it at that. Yeah. So
all right, as long as you're saying that that's the right approach.
Yeah, there are two different approaches. That's a fine approach.
And you got the same answer, 8.54 expected return.
Did somebody else get it? I can't find my answers.
Oh, okay.
I've given up on looking at
I got the same answer.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Yeah,
thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. That's what I thought it was. That's one of those things where, yeah, that looks very, very right to me. And then, this stuff's hard enough to learn if the professor starts telling you that your answers are right when they're really wrong. So that's all. I'm just trying to make sure. All right.
Professor Roach, just really quick. So the whole .p thing.
Yeah,
so should we always use .p if it's standard deviation
and variance? Yeah.
Okay.
And I think maybe covariance as well, but it defaults on covariance. It's the other two. And using the ones without .p is from a very old version of Excel that would automatically overlook non-numbers, I believe, and they it wasn't given the correct answer, basically. So they updated it they updated things, and now .p is the one that it gives you the correct answer, for lack of a better way to put it. I don't know why they have all the other ones.
Yeah,
but they do.
Even flags it, like when you try to write covariate, it says that this is compatibility with Excel 27. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that example from whatever chapter it is where they don't use the .p, I think that's from an older version of Excel.
Okay.
So in the videos where there was one of the videos where you did not use .p, so you're saying that is the problem, that's incorrect?
That is correct. That is incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay.
Yeah, when we go through the next chapter and I do more of that stuff, I really dig into the .p part of it.
Thank you.
Ryan, you're correct that it's incorrect. How about that?
Yeah. Not confusing at all.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I got one more question, but I'm going to stop and let someone go around. I'll come back.
Okay. Shivani, what's up?
Hi. I just had a quick question. In the constant growth model for using the growing perpetuity question, could you just go into detail a little more about what R and G are again and where they're derived from?
Sure. So when you're using the constant growth model, and I'm going to have something to refer to here. Bear with me on a second. Boom, boom. So the constant growth model, we've got, I'm going to use dividends. We got a dividend a year from today, dividend in a year. I'm going to use numbers, then I'm going to explain it because I feel like it's easier. It's easier for me to explain it with numbers too. So let's say a company's going to make a dividend of $3 a year from today. And our required return, let's say it's 10%. This is the number that we expect to earn if we're going to buy the stock.
Mm-hmm.
We're only going to buy the stock if we can make a 10% return. So our demanded return. The growth is how much do we expect the company to grow their business on a year-over-year basis.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can, if it's a mature company and we expect them to grow in line with inflation and GDP, that number actually comes to about 5% long-term growth with economy. Now that's where these numbers come from for the model.
Okay.
And the idea is, so there we got a $60 stock, but the idea is, that we have $3 and it just increases by 5% a year. That's the long-term growth, but we also expect the dividend to grow by that amount.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where those two numbers come from. What you can do, if you know that the company's growth estimate is 5%, I don't want to make that long. So we're estimating the company's going to grow at 5%. We've done a whole bunch of analysis, et cetera. If we know that the growth is 5% and this company here, they have a dividend yield, and you know what? I'm going to change this to $2. You'll see why in a second. So $2 dividend in a year. If we know that the required return is, if we know that the dividend is $2 versus $40, then the dividend yield is that divided by that, which also gives us 5%, unfortunately. I wish I'd use some different numbers here. So we're expecting the company to grow by 5%. And right now, we're receiving a 5% dividend yield. Well, our long-term required return, the markets, if that long-term required return is, that 5% growth estimate that we get from their internal business, their internal operations. And the dividend yield is market yield, which is the dividend divided by the stock price. Now, I'm going one other step, and hopefully this is where it's going to clear this up. So let's say the real stock price, right here I'm solving for stock price. This is a fair value based on that stuff. Let's say the stock price is $37. Well, if we've got a stock price of $37 and a dividend of $2 right now, and a long-term growth rate of 5%, what? I think I need to go out some digits here. So now, let's say the stock. So before, when the stock was at 40, the market rate of return is 10%. It's 5% growth rate and then a dividend yield of 5%. If the stock suddenly drops from 40 to 30, that means the market is now demanding an 11.67% return. So when you have a growth estimate and a dividend yield, and everything's being estimated, and you come up with a fair value for the stock, those numbers should tie back in. If you've got a growth estimate, you can go to the market and look at the stock price and figure out the dividend yield. And if you add those two numbers together, they give you, this is the market's expected return. I feel like I convoluted that a bit, but is that how they all kind of interrelate to each other?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trevor.
Hey, so I'll just share my screen.
Uh-oh. We've already been here, man. I'm just kidding. You know I'm kidding. Don't. I'm kidding. So.
This is what I did for 8. I got that. That was just like how I did it in my head. I just rearranged the formula and then just flipped it around for.
Yeah. That's exactly right. This was from a slide where it said you can solve for R using the dividend discount model by changing the algebra around a bit, or changing the formula around a bit. So, and that's honestly that's kind of what I was just showing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as cleanly as you were.
I'm trying to. Okay, yeah. For number 5.
Oh, you got the whisker chart. That's what it's supposed to look like.
Okay, that's all I needed.
I call it. I say it's a cat looking sideways. Maybe I'm the only one that sees.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah.
His whiskers are looking sideways. I call that my cat whisker chart.
Well, that's all I needed.
Okay. And that's a demonstration of the sensitivity to rates for different bonds. That's what it's showing you. So, yes, Mandeep.
Okay, I think this is the last one I have a question for. So let me go ahead and share the screen. This is the final question, Monday Nighter, homework 2, Brodsky Metals Corporation.
Oh, that's funny. He was my boss. Ha, I found my solutions.
Oh, okay. Well, we can compare 12 then again if you want.
We may get to that one. So Brodsky Metals.
Brodsky Metals. So I got the inputs all here. This is just calculating. It tells you the shares outstanding, the market risk premium, basically the risk-free rate, the T-bill, tax rate, bonds. And what I did here in part A was I looked at the market value of I think it's equity, market value of the debt, and the total market value, then the ratios of each one, equity to value, debt to value.
You don't use where you're off here is you're saying don't use the coupon rate as the proxy. Use the current yield to maturity as the proxy.
Use the current yield to maturity as proxy.
Right. And you'll use the rate function to solve for that. The bond's trading at 1,060. I'm trying to see if you've got the numbers that you need there. Yeah, you do. But you know what? Let's swap. I'll show you how to solve for that bond yield and maturity. Otherwise, you're right on track. Everything else was correct. But
is the selection of that proxy, I know it's the wrong word here, arbitrary, but like there was some level of discretion on picking that proxy?
Yeah, if you're, and this is real quick, this is the yield to maturity that you should use for that question. That 2.21%. It was a 10-year bond. They had 4% coupons, but it's $40 twice a year, so the payment's $20. The bond was trading at 1160. You get your par value at the end. When you use the rate function, you get 1.1%. And then when you double it, you get 2.21%. That's what you should use for the bond portion of the discount rate. or the bond portion of that question.
Not flat out the coupon rate of 4%.
No, don't use the coupon. Use the because we're talking about what it would cost. What we're trying to come up with was if they issued more bonds and stocks in the same proportion that they have right now, what is the expected rate of return based on those two instruments and the weighting? And the bond part, if this company, they've got a 4% coupon bond out, but if they were to issue new bonds today, the market is saying we'll buy bonds from you and only make 2.21%. So that's their real cost to borrow as of this moment. When they issued those bonds, the cost to borrow was 4%, but it's gone down to 2.2%, just based on macro factors.
Okay, so based on that, then the weighted average cost of capital you got was an 8.78.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I just realized I'm still sharing, but yeah, there it is.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't even looking. I put 2 into my Excel and I got 8.78.
Yeah, when I went to check it, I was like, yep. So there, and now I think I probably left it up long enough for people. But yeah, that's why people come to Saturdays, because they think he's gonna give away answers. Probably, if you got up early.
As my kids would say, no cap.
Yeah. So. All right, Jason, real quick, we're on the countdown.
Thank you.
So like I'm gonna share my screen, and this one, like I just want to check like where's my logic is wrong. So I think I got like the answer here, to know like this is the answer. This is the answer.
Which one is this?
This one is like a question 4.
Okay.
Like a who's
who's your daddy? Sorry, who's your
yeah.
Sorry,
that's my original answer. So I want to check like why my logic kind of is wrong here. Like I know like I need to sum this one rather than just simply see like a divided that count that back.
Okay. So let me see your where's your final? Or where was make it a little bigger? I'm really
okay.
I'm working on a really small screen today. So which one were you?
This is my original answer. So I just counted one kind of back directly, but I know like I need to sum up like
well,
this is right answer.
You can't use that one because and go back to G10. So well, I can say, you have the formula text right there. You can't use that one because you can't use the 15% minus 10% because that is assuming a perpetuity and the rate changes at a certain point.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, so this is a two-step problem.
Okay, so this is a perpetuity, but this one is like an annuity or something but it's right?
That's just yeah, I mean, that's a growing annuity, and you can use the growing annuity formula, or you can discount back each of them. The best way to do it is to do it in a table like you're doing it now, personally.
Okay.
And but yeah, what you did there where you got the 48s, you're using the next dividend, but you're making and if the question were the company's going to increase their dividend at the same rate forever, that would give you the correct answer. But because we expect a certain amount of growth and then slower growth, this is a 2-step dividend discount model.
Okay, basically the first part, this part, and the second part, they are different kind of ways of thinking.
Exactly. And the reason that they're different ways of thinking, and this is I emphasize this one, this methodology a lot, because this is how you value stocks. If you're a stock analyst, you can have a reasonable outlook for the next 3 to 5 years and come up with real number, with real estimates. But then after that, the future becomes a little hazy, and also companies tend to mature. So at some point you come up with a slower growth rate as a company becomes more mature, and you assume that a mature company is going to kind of just grow consistently instead of, the kind of choppy growth that you see from companies when they're first starting out and they're in a rapid growth phase. So it's two different situations, but yeah, two different approaches as well.
And like usually for the like a company growing kind of cycle, usually like if we take like a Tesla as an example, so when it's bursting out, like that kind of is going to fluctuate kind of a lot, but eventually once it becomes a kind of mature company, it's going to grow kind of constantly, right? Okay, yeah. And the other kind of question, so because like when I figure that out is like when I see like a market these two, I said like why the stock price kind of suddenly kind of dropped when like it become kind of mature. So when it becomes kind of mature, usually the stock is going to be lower than when it's kind of bumping like up and down.
Well, because like I mean like your stock price there that you have, those aren't accurate. Those aren't good stock prices.
See, like my question.
I have to look at, again, those aren't really good stock prices because you're basing them on, rapid growth occurring forever. I mean, if you really, I'm not really sure how you might want to, I don't know how, and you could, if somebody said you need to come up with if somebody gave me all of these scenarios and said, you need to come up with a stock price in year 3, but the slower growth doesn't happen until year 7. I would do 3 different calculations.
Okay, so when you say
I would do a lot of different. I would discount. I would come up with a year 3 stock valuation based on year 4 and year 5 dividends, and then a terminal value based on the slower growth rate, and then discount that terminal value back a couple of years to year 3 again.
Okay,
so that would just add a step.
Okay. So like basically you still calculate like when it's kind of sharply growth, and then plus like when it's kind of constant kind of growth, like you evaluate that like as all rather than like you just do like in this part like come up this number, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Cool.
All right, thank you so much. And one last question, for this one, I just want to confirm. So I get the answer here. So basically, is it similar to like a zero growth kind of stock? It's just a negative kind of growth, but it still has kind of value.
Well, there's still a mesh field. Oh yeah. This is the one where it's still kind of, it's, I mean, philosophically it's the same. But the math is different. That there's, even though the year over year cash flows are going to be going down, the dividend's going to be going down. There's still value in each of those dividends. It's just not particularly attractive.
Okay, because people project like to have more rather than less, right? Okay.
I was saying, in reality, you'd probably want more than a 13% return off of this.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and if you say, well, the dividends are going to keep going down, I want a 20% return or something, and what would happen is the stock price would go down. The level that you would be willing to buy the stock at would go down.
Okay, I see. Like my question. So basically, market required return rate does not equal to inflation, but like it equals to inflation rate plus a company organic growth rate, right? So my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I think like that's all my questions.
There's no way I'm getting in a driverless taxi.
It is such a trip. Do it. It's fun. Like,
I'm not. You know what?
We don't have them around, as you know, we don't have them around here in Chicago suburbs, but they down there. And I don't know if other people have questions, but like, man, what a trip that was. I went to Phoenix, like I said, for a hockey tournament with my son, and like these things were all over Scottsdale, Tempe, and Phoenix. They didn't quite go out to the hockey rink that we had to go play at, because I think they're still restricted on not being on highways. But man, what a trip! What an efficient way to get around. We went to the hockey game in at Arizona State University from Scottsdale in that, and it messes with your mind. It really does. But once you get used to it, it's like, why didn't we have these 10 years ago? Amazing.
They had one
your kids in those.
Which, sorry, Christina?
You put your kid in.
Well, yeah, I sent him first. I tested it out.
No, I mean, like
me and my kid, like we both went in from the hotel in Scottsdale, and then we went to Tempe, which is over the river, not that far away, 2-3 miles maybe. and it makes right turns, left turns, signals, like it's got apparently
it can
every type
theoretically do all the things a car can do, except not murder.
I had a great time. I'd do it a million times over again.
We had one. They had one that was taking people around IUPUI's campus.
Yeah,
but they had a driver in it, just in case.
Oh no, this is no driver. Oh yeah, when they first started out, I heard like retirees to kind of sit in there, kind of just to vet it out and be like the safety clutch. But then now it's like fully, you know, and I don't know if my dad was a retiree would be the best safety clutch, to be honest with you.
And if they're retired, they have to pay out less actuarially, right?
You think the response time is a little bit affected, but anyways, like it was we saw it, we're like, we're gonna do it, and we did it for the game. It was a great experience. We did it like 2 or 3 times even after that. We're like, yeah, screw Uber, we're gonna do this. In fact, I had a friend who called an Uber and like through the Uber app, and I guess like, you know, it was like busy, like the ASU hockey game was letting out. And then Uber contracted with Waymo to send them a Waymo instead of an Uber. So it was her first time going into a Waymo, but she did it through I guess they have a licensing. If Uber gets super busy, they don't have enough drivers out there, then they pull in the Waymo cars. Interesting for sure.
You know,
give it a shot.
So, anybody in the evening NBA thing, in the NCAA pool? My 17-year-old would be in first. She's tied with the people that are in first. I'm like in 12th or so. I know what the prize is. It's an autographed copy of one of my books, so I hope I win. All right, I'm gonna go out in the desert. If you guys have any questions, shoot me emails. And you know, like I said, the quiz, people are doing good on the quiz, so don't stress. Try not to stress. Stress over your bracket, because you know that's a hell of a prize. Candlestick Charting for Dummies, 2nd edition, autographed copy. I'll personalize it. Yeah, that's what you want for your bookshelf. All right, guys, I'll see ya.
Thank you, Prof. Appreciate it.